Hello, hello. Welcome to another Tuesday night principled Chiro broadcast from DE and Band of Brothers, man. Appreciate everybody being here, showing up for all these years. I think we started in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. I got to go back and look. And I think Dan, too, was the first speaker. Welcome again to another one. And just as far as announcements go, DE, if we can put that up there, next DE is in January 21st to 24th. Sarasota dates had to change a little bit. We were conflicting with Lyceum, and we decided to back it up a couple of weeks. So we are April 15th to 18th, and then Greece, July 16th to 17th. So make plans to be in there. We just got our tickets for that, so we're excited about that. Also, next week, Joe Bretsky is our speaker, another one of our younger, more recent grads, so be sure to get on for that. And then last year we did our first annual Tim Langley Memorial Scholarship from the GCC, and it's that time again. We'll pick it at our December convention, and it's $1,000 scholarship for a chiropractic student. And basically, you need to send 2 videos in to info@georgiachiropractic.org. And the first one is just who you are, a little bit about yourself, and why you would love to win this. And then second is give it a 2 to 3 minute elevator talk on chiropractic. You know, what is chiropractic? Explaining it to somebody. And email those, just send those videos, do it right on your phone. Send it right over to info@georgiachiropractic.org. And we will pick a student to win $1,000 scholarship. So if you know any students, please let them know about it for our good friend, Dr. Tim Langley, who passed too early. And also, if you want to donate, we have our GoFundMe back up. So if you go on georgiachiropractic.org, you can donate to the GoFundMe again. We would love and appreciate if you guys would hook that up so we can keep this going as long as humanly possible, maybe even give more than one. So we appreciate it. And this week we have a newer doc. I think he's been there a couple of years now at DE. But one of the quieter ones you might not know of as much. And he's out of Virginia Beach. His name is Dr. Michael Vanella. And I'm going to take it out of here, and I'm going to let him take over. Thank you so much for doing this, Doc. And we love and appreciate you, man.
Oh, thanks, Brian, and thanks, everyone, for having me here. Like Brian says, kind of one of the newer guys, been coming to DE about 2.5 years now, but I am the quiet guy. I'm a bit of an introvert, so a lot of you don't know who I am, so I don't say too much. So I figured tonight I'd share who I am and my story. And going to chiropractors pretty much most of my life. I was one of those toddlers that was very sick, and my grandmother told my mom, well, take him to a chiropractor. It helped me. And she took me to the chiropractor, and I got well, and I stayed well a lot of my childhood. And chiropractors were part of my life. We even she had a 2-family house where the chiropractor used to teach at NYCC. So getting adjusted, which is a normal thing, and I very rarely went to the medical doctor. I didn't know what the chiropractors did, but I always felt great going there. And then we moved and didn't have chiropractic in my life again until probably after I got out of high school. I'd hurt myself doing martial arts, and hurt my knee. Just wasn't getting any better. I went to the medical doctor. They didn't know what it was, so they gave me some medications. And if anyone knows me, I don't do well with medications, and whole face blew up. And so I just kind of suffered with it for a while until one of our friends of the family said, well, why don't you go see my chiropractor? And I got introduced to chiropractic again. First time I heard the word subluxation. Told me, what I had going on, adjusted me a couple of times. I felt great. My knee healed up. But he didn't tell me to keep coming back. So I didn't see him again until I hurt my back a year later. And this was me in my 20s. And I really didn't know what to do with my life. And I really had to thank my sister-in-law at the time, who gave me the ad for New York Chiropractic College. She gave it to me, and I read it. And it was like a light went off. This is, what I want to do. Checked all the boxes I wanted to do. and it just felt right. And I went there. He asked me if there's any other chiropractic colleges. Couldn't tell you another one saved my life. My friends at the time told me they picked and choose. And New York was good for the boards and stuff like that, but it was close to where I live, and that's what I chose it on. Didn't get much philosophy, but I enjoyed going to the school there. But before I graduated, I went back to my chiropractor and talked to him. And he's like, you get out, you really want to, train with someone who sees a lot of people each day. He says, I can only do about 50. That's how I learned, and you want to see a lot more people. So I said, okay. And so I looked around, and the biggest people, seeing a lot of people, I finally looking for associates for PI practices. And that's what I did for like 9 years. Just a lot of people in PI practices, a bad day using 100, a lot more on a good day. But it's not the greatest crowd. It's not a family practice. But I did that for 9 years, ran a few of the practices until they started selling them off. And I decided it was time for me to open my own practice. I was kind of tired of New York, and Brian and I were kind of talking about before this that, I was tired of the snow. I didn't like the changes in New York, and I wanted something warmer, nicer. And I ended up down here in Virginia Beach, and I was going to buy a practice. I moved down here, sold my house up there, and we were going to sign the paperwork. And there was 2 practices, and I was going to buy one of them. And he didn't want to sign a non-compete, and I didn't want to buy a practice that you could just take the patient to another practice. So I ended up having to open my own practice. I spent a week looking for a place to rent out in someone else's practice. And first year we did pretty well. I was a metapractor. Didn't know what chiropractic is really about, but I did pretty well. The biggest thing was that, a lot of people say at DE that, you really want to bring your spouse to DE. So, they know what you do and they're behind you. And my first wife wasn't behind me. And, doing the practice the first year kind of pushed us even further apart. And we divorced. And let you know that the divorce is not a practice builder. Because for 2 years, dealing with it, everything, practice went down. And I kept it alive for 2 years, but during that time, I was living out of the office. I was homeless. It was a rough time. But like all things, sun came back up. Got together, got the office going again, and really got a pretty successful practice going. Just doing therapies, doing what I was trained to do in school and PI practices, but it wasn't totally what I wanted. And I was asking around, and a few people said, well, you may want to get a substation, and talked to a few people there. And I did that, and I ended up going to, CLA's, the Mountain Program. And it was the first time I heard anything philosophical in chiropractic. I grew up on it, adjusted, and I knew how powerful the adjustment was. And I really didn't like my patients when they're like, I don't really want adjustment today. I want to be just a therapy. That's what works. And that used to bother me like crazy. But it was that event that I heard people saying like, adjusting kids and seeing all the miracles. And it was like, this is awesome. This is what I hear. But it's not DE. They didn't hear any of the love part. So, I went back home. I'm like, this is going to change the practice. No more therapies, anyone. But I do need love. I went and just told them like, I'm not doing any more therapies. It's not right, all that stuff. And again, I'm not a big practice builder when you don't do it with love. So the practice kind of stagnated. I wanted to make it more a principal practice, but I didn't really never saw it. I wasn't trained that way. My friends were metapractors and didn't go well. And I kind of stayed in limbo for a few years until I heard one day that Justin Quayle and Nick Bavelich were doing a Band of Brothers in Virginia Beach, which really excited me because I didn't hear any other type of group like that was at least 4 hours away from me. So I started going there with the guys. They welcomed me in. It was great talking to them, great talking principle, reading the green books. I got to see how their practices worked. And it was nice. It really started to help me make some changes. Then Justin was always talking about going to DE. He was going to DE, changes. It was helpful. And my biggest problem for me is always that, I can figure it out myself. I can do it. But I finally made the decision to go to DE, which was a big thing for me, but it was a good thing. First DE was always fun because it was a hard time getting there. The airport gave me someone else's ticket to Rochester, and I got to the hotel and they didn't have my reservation. But it all worked out. I got there. I met great people. I loved the energy, loved what I heard. And it was like chiropractic became from a black and white picture to a color picture. Just really changed how I felt about it. I mean, I always loved chiropractic. I always enjoyed going to the office, loved adjusting patients, but just brought a new life to me. And everyone was very helpful, talking to me, offering to help, phone numbers. I took them up on it a little bit. Andy was always great. And did well. I've been going there for a couple of years now. Talk a little bit. Like I said, I'm an introvert. I talk to a few people, then I'm good for a while. But I think it's kind of like, Brian Lieberman had said at the last DE, the good things that came out of COVID this year. I mean, I'm not happy about COVID. I don't even start with mask, but some of the gratitude out of it is when this all happened, having heard everything at DE, what we do, our purpose, I knew right away that, I need to still keep caring for my, practice members, that they need to get adjusted no matter what. And I think it was Brian Moriarty had put on his page that, we'll stay open as long as people need chiropractic. And I loved the saying. And I copied it and I sent it to my patients every week for probably 12 weeks, just kept saying it. And, we had an initial dip for the first 2 weeks, but then after that, we started picking up. And there's been a new life in the office since then. And then, we got the Zoom meetings, everyone's Banner Brothers, Tuesday night calls. It was great to be really connected again throughout all that. And, but I still knew my big problem is asking for help. And, I always know the problem is just not, I can always do it myself. And then one of the Tuesday night calls, Wace was talking and he said something about, hard for asking for help. And, I know for myself, when I hear these things in other places, it's God telling me that, okay, this is the time, you're right here. And so, I messaged him, talked on the phone. He was very nice, spent his time with me, give me some help with my problems, and really just some consult stuff. I say that it was helpful, but asking for help really unblocked me a lot of things because the office just exploded then. In ways I never imagined, because people keep asking, what did you do? What did you do? I'm like, I just changed my consult, but, consult doesn't give you, 25 new patients in a month, but you don't do anything. My energy level went up, my attractiveness went up, and people just come in the office. Patients no longer complain about prices. I always had patients like, I can't afford this. Now, in the last 5 months, I haven't had a single patient complain about prices. And it's been great, even breaking records and all that stuff. And, went to the D in August, I came home and, we finished that month and it was just like, I think I broke a record in almost every field that, I keep track of. And I was like, this is DE. I'm like, boom, okay. I got my tickets, I got my hotel, I had everything done by the end of August, just because I now knew that, how important it was how it was working and, being connected, this is, and, I see when I make those decisions, how the world changes for me. So, D's done a lot for me. And, I'm hoping someone got something out of my story, but the people out there that are starting are still struggling, whatever, you find is a problem for you still, or, we all know what I knew my problem was, and I still have other problems, ask someone to help. The biggest change will give you the biggest change in your practice. And, DE people are great people. They love you. They will help you, give a shirt off your back. Just do it. Give into the, get rid of the fear and just do it. That's the best thing I can say. So I really want to thank everyone for listening to me tonight, and I'm hoping I help someone. If I can help anyone else, please, contact me. I'm always grateful to help people. Not always great, asking for help, but still working on that. So thank you very much, everyone. Hope everyone has a great night.
All right, man. Dude, thank you so much. What a great story, too, man. I love it.
Thanks.
Glad you're doing great. I love to see it. And keep kicking ass up there. And I'm sure you're already booked to January, you said, right? So
Yes, I am. All right. And my wife's coming this time, too. So
awesome. Good to hear. Good to hear. All right, everybody. Next week, Joe Bretsky, Dr. Joe Bretsky, and I hope everybody has a great week. And thanks again for doing this, Doc.
No problem. Have a great night, everyone.
Bye-bye.